Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you. Welcome to GatherVerse. My name is Aditya Mani, and I am the founder of an app called Yologram. And what we do is we bring fashion to your avatar. So we're a direct to avatar fashion company that brings brands to your avatar. And what is an avatar, you ask? So, as we're moving into the metaverse, we're moving into a new reality, which is 3D. You're going to get increasingly more dependent on seeing it from 360 and seeing it from 3D to be able to move your head from left to right. And when you're inside these virtual worlds, whether they're augmented or totally virtual worlds, you want to see characters in 3D. You don't want to see them as flat cardboard cutouts, which is what typically a camera feed can do. So you'd want to be replaced with something like a 3D character that you'd see on, say, Pixar or any of the cartoons that we're aware of. And this is the kind of embodiment that we can have in addition to the kind of embodiment that we can have as a realistic or as a cartoon human. You could even be an animal, or you could be a fantasy character. And the topic that I'm going to talk about is really about do these avatars, do they allow us to create a new equality out there? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So my talk is about, can avatars create a new playing field? So the way it works is people are defining the metaverse as the next big thing. So every time a new disruptive element comes out, there's a new playing field, because the things that let you win in the previous world will not let you win in this new world, because the rules are different, the rules of engagement are different, the rules of competing are different. So those tricks won't work. In fact, with Web3, people say even having a whole lot of money with you in the old world won't really work in Web3, because there are different ways in which you're going to compete to move up in Web3. So what really is the metaverse? The metaverse is really about humans engaging with each other. And it's very important to remember that, whether you're thinking of it from a 3D paradigm, a 2D paradigm, or cartoonish paradigm, or a augmented reality, it's really more meaningful, and there's more traction in it when there are humans at the other side of it. Although we will be interacting with non-player characters, which are NPCs, which are AI driven, but largely it becomes more meaningful when there's a human on the other side. It's going to be our bridge between physical and digital, and it's going to be our virtual connection with phygital. Now that sounds like a lot, but basically you're going to have phygital equivalents of everything, and our connection with the phygital equivalents of everything is going to be through the metaverse. So our metaverse is going to be our way, a medium of connecting, and just like how we put on the TV, or how we put on our phones, we're going to use some medium of connecting, and the metaverse is really where we're going to be entering into seeing everything phygital that we own. And purely from a technical angle, it's nothing but a collection of virtual worlds. And in case you're wondering what a virtual world is, it's nothing but just a collection of avatars and assets and environments. So, there are these 3D worlds which are created, which are called environments. So, for example, in this image you see, there's a room, and the room could be called an environment. So it could either be a skybox, or it could be a photorealistic creation, which is an architectural creation. And there could be things inside it called assets or VDAs, and these could be either playable or non-playable assets. So for example, you see a TV there, you could technically have a little button on it and it shows you something from YouTube. There's a guitar lying there. It could be something that's playable that your avatar could pick up and play. There's a couch there that your avatar could sit on. At the same time, there could be non-playable things. So for example, the table, you'll probably not be able to do anything with the table. You probably won't be able to pick up assets on the table. That's typically a non-playable asset. I'll talk a little bit more about what avatars are, but these virtual worlds are rather large multiplayer kind of games. They're often immersive. We all know the examples out there, which is like Roblox, Fortnite, Horizons, and Decentraland, even though they're not metaverses by themselves. But each one of these virtual worlds, in the promise of the metaverse, we should be able to move from one to another using digital identity and digital wallets and interportable avatars, and that's what connects all these virtual worlds into one, the metaverse as we're going to know it in the future. So what really are avatars? And I showed you a couple of those cartoonish animal avatars where I replaced my face on, but basically it could be either a 2D or a 3D, it could be a PFP, it could be a profile picture. but it's basically a representation of ourselves and also a representation of our likes and dislikes as well. So, there could be certain brands that you'd like to wear on your avatar, that be certain kind of colors you'd like to wear on your avatar, certain kinds of backgrounds you'd like to click your avatar in. So all of these are going to add up to what your avatar is. And these are really a collection of all our likes and dislikes. And what we've seen increasingly was in social media is that we really care about how our social media image looks. So we're really going to be caring about how these avatars look in the future. So the spectrum of avatars can go from the realism side, right from cinematic, which could be, like the Marvel movies that we've seen, where you have a character with an incredible amount of high fidelity, like the Incredible Hulk, or you can see any of the Marvel characters out there, right to any of these cartoonish kind of representations, which could be as beautiful as some of the Pixar cartoon characters, or it could be something a little more lo-fi and which loads up faster in a virtual world in for multiplayer. So think of Decentraland, or think of any of the 3D characters that load up in these multiplayer environments, which are meant to handle multiple players at the same time. Avatars don't necessarily have to be 3D, so you could have 2D representations. So there are a lot of avatars which are present today, which are rigged and animation ready, which are 2D. And then in terms of embodiment, it could be just a face only avatar, like the ones I showed you of the different animals. It could be a full body avatar, and the body again doesn't have to be humanoid. So it could be a human. It could be a bipedal, two-legged avatar with a tail. It could be a four-legged or a multi-legged. It could be like an octopus. So that's the level of creativity the embodiment can have as well. And once we're so creative in the way we're representing ourselves, you have to have a certain layer of trust in the metaverse, and that's kind of given to you by the blockchain, and that's given to you by certifying that this particular avatar is you, and this particular avatar um, is verified by a verification system. Now, think about identities that carry a photograph and identities that don't. So think about your social security number, which doesn't carry a photograph, and think about your passport that carries a photograph. Both are valid identities, but one of them links to a 2D representation of yourself. One of them links to all the data about yourself. And it's often that both of these are connected to each other, but really your identity can be locked and certified without having to expose the way you look in real life. So I can have my identity verified without actually having a photograph of mine shared on the blockchain. So that's the power in which I can kind of have a sense of anonymity with a certified avatar or a certified kind of identity. And why is it important to have this? So, think about you feeling very strongly about something, whether it's a political matter or a social matter, and you're okay sharing that with your friends, but maybe there are neighbors out there who have a different view, who you'd want to still be friendly with, but you'd want to be reserved about how you feel very strongly about certain things. Think about how your boss or your colleagues would feel about certain issues and how they would judge you. So, this kind of anonymity has been known for years by, famous writers, activists, people who've tried to challenge the status quo, and people who've tried to challenge anti-establishment. But that's something that's going to be a requirement for each one of us. When you want to stand up for something, peacefully protest for something, you'd want the anonymity also present. At the same time, you want it certified. So you don't want trolling to happen, that because someone is hiding behind anonymity, that someone can misuse that. So you want that there's a sense of trust. At the same time, that sense of trust doesn't really reveal who you are, but it does verify that this is a real person, and this is a person who we can verify, and we can tell you is certified. He or she is certified. So and when we're talking about this new level playing field, what we're really coming up with is a new inclusive kind of environment out there. And when we talk about inclusive, we're really talking about a welcoming kind of environment, because the rules are being rewritten. So there are new rules being written about what beauty is. That people reach out to their 3D artists and reach out to their VFX designers and say, can you put freckles on my avatar? Can you put imperfections on my avatar. I want it to look less robotic and more human. So the rules of beauty, I mean, today, if you look at a beautiful avatar, which is a meta-human avatar, it often has freckles in it, has detail in it, which, typically some of the beauty filters today sit and remove them on augmented reality. So there are two paradigms of beauty being addressed as we speak. Even the whole concept of embodiment. So, some people would like that their avatar uh, uh, kind of conveys a sense of aspirational value, like, this is how I'd like to look. I'd like my avatar to have a six-pack. Someone would say, no, I want my avatar to be authentic. I'd like it to look exactly the way I look. If there's a little weight on a certain part of my body, I want my avatar to convey that as well, because I want to be my authentic self, and even when I'm in 3D. So the avatar systems or the avatar universes give us all this flexibility. And in terms of, because you're in a new world, the laws of gravity and physics don't apply the way they do exactly. You're also kind of limitless in terms of your expression, your accessibility, and as well as your powers. So I spoke about, the two different paradigms out there. So on one hand, we're downloading face filters out there, which are trying to take out every little blemish out there. On the other hand, we're going up to our digital designers and our 3D designers and say, try to, work out every little detail to make this avatar, which photorealistic and cinematic, to look exactly like me. So, we're gonna find different versions of ourselves present on these different avatars, and we're going to be more accepting of imperfections, just like how we are in the real world. And you're going to have people who are going to use um, uh, technology like digital tattoos to convey art, to convey what you stand for. And even people would like that, if you're going in for a football game, you want your team's or your country's colors painted on your face. That's all possible today with these different kinds of face filters and digital art, which can be put on your avatar. So all of this is going to happen, and all of this is going to be considered the new paradigm in beauty. And some of these can be branded experiences too. So you could be wearing a certain kind of makeup on your face or on your body, which could be a branded experience, which the brand would like you to try on. So it's really a new world we're talking about. From an embodiment angle, we're becoming more welcoming about gender. So it's not just the old rules of things being binary. We're welcoming non-binary. We're welcoming the whole concept of fluid, which means that the person configuring their own avatar has a little slider which can move depending how you'd like it. So even though it's a photograph of yourself, you may want it to look more feminine or less feminine or more masculine. You can slide those things around. Even from the diversity and race perspective, um, avatars today take care of every kind of facial feature, every kind of racial ethnicity, and that's the power of what digital can do. And again, you have fluid, so you have races which are in between and mixed. You can also have that come up in the sliders that you provide when you're designing your avatar as well. And of course, in terms of species, we've come across some of the recognizable ones like, the cow and the cat and the dog and all that. But, some people may want to represent themselves as fantasy characters, fictional characters, aliens. All of that is also possible when you're looking at yourself as an avatar. So really what this is doing is it's giving us an opportunity to rediscover ourselves, represent ourselves, as in represent ourselves. And this is kind of like, because it's not physically governed, so you can technically fly in the metaverse. So you could be on a wheelchair, but you could have two legs in the metaverse, or you may want to represent yourself on a wheelchair or with crutches on in the metaverse. The possibilities are endless. So you can take care of all these factors in diversity as well as accessibility. And on the other hand, you can even buy yourself aspirational gear. So you just like how you can do aspirational movements, you can do aspirational. There's technology out there which can make you do the kind of dances that Michael Jackson can do the kind of three-pointer basketball move that Michael Jordan can do. All of that's possible because your avatar is a great game character in a simulation, and you can technically download these kind of experiences similar to how you can download kung fu onto your avatar in the movie Matrix. You can actually do that today by downloading different kinds of animations onto your avatar and expressing yourself using those kind of animations as well. So it's really a very, very interesting world that we're getting into, which is again going to, like I mentioned, a level playing field, which allows us to rediscover ourselves. Purely from an access point of view, I don't think that the metaverse is going to be VR only. It's going to be increasingly mobile driven as well, because today most of our users today on the metaverse are mobile first. So you're going to have augmented reality, which is one of the most powerful concepts in the metaverse, happen increasingly over mobile as well as the glasses as and when they come. So that's the angle at which we need to look at it from an access and from an inclusivity point of view. So it's not just the far and few who have access to VR devices. It's also everyone out there who's entering the metaverse from 2D screens as well as from devices like laptops and phones. And from the distinction angle, what makes you the most popular kid on the block today? Is it the fancy car you drive? Is it the big house you have? Well, in the metaverse, it may not be those things anymore. It may be the kind of certificates you have. So if you've attended good seminars and you have good kind of certificates on your digital wallet, maybe that has some cred, which moves up. Similarly, if you buy genuine products and they're digitally available on your digital wallet, that probably carries some weight in the metaverse. Very different from the way you express a certain kind of a degree of success in the real life. The whole concept of leveling up, which has been so prevalent in the gaming industry, where you're not just known by the number of followers you have on your Twitch stream or the number of followers you have in the game. It's also about the kind of engagement you have. You could have titles like OG and whatnot, which you have in gaming worlds present in these metaverses as well. So that's basically my talk on how avatars are going to readdress the way we look at what is equality. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Chris for this opportunity, and I look forward to seeing you all soon in person. Thank you very much.